Hello everyone and welcome to Low Budget Otaku, and today I'm bringing you a different video about concepts. Now, let's assume you started collecting not too long ago and you don't have, a lot of experience. You also don't have a lot of local stores because you don't live in America or Japan. And so you have to buy online. Buying online can be a little bit scary because you're searching on either several stores or, to be easy, in search engines where several stores sell, like eBay. And if you're not careful, you can buy something that you didn't mean to buy, or sometimes pay more by something that actually is not worth that much money. And if you are online for some time trying to search these things, you'll find several terms appear. Bootleg, fake, knockoff, third party. What does this all mean? If you're not very versed, you may think it's something to do with cowboys. Maybe even shirtless cowboys. You're now thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Hey, there. Better? So the term bootleg is actually very old, and its meaning has been applied for several things. Mostly bootleg was created in the time of the cowboys, when they used to steal things and hide them in their high boots. But the term became really popular in the time where the liquor and selling liquor was forbidden in the USA, so you had people fabricating and selling illegally liquor. After that time, bootleg started being used for a variety of products that were being sold without authorization, without the legal procedures. But what about specifically for action figures? Well, we mean bootleg when we are talking about a product, a figure that is copying existing figure, but is actually made by China. It's not made by the real company that makes the figure. So it's basically a cheaper version of that figure. Most of the times you have the exact same box, or at least at first sight it's the exact same box. The figure itself comes with everything the other one comes, but normally the plastic is not so good, so articulation sometimes is not so good. Of course, the materials themselves tend to be cheaper. Unfortunately, this can lead to some sellers trying to sell a bootleg like it was the original, and that can be a slippery slope. Then we have the term third party. Third party is a bit different than a bootleg, even though some people still classify as a bootleg, but I think the distinction needs to be made because a third party actually has its own brand. So you have a name behind. The box is different. The name itself is changed slightly, not to be mistaken with the original. Sometimes the third party is based on the original brand figure. Sometimes actually it's completely original. They're making it based on the character, but they're not basing it on the figure that already exists. Sometimes it's based on a figure that already exists but brings extra things or some slight changes. In the end, well, it's still an unlicensed copy. It's not pretending to be the original. While the bootleg will always be cheaper than the original figure, sometimes the third party can actually be more expensive than the original, because sometimes a third party will actually put the work to make the figure even better than the original, or can be a completely new design that is really well made. For cases like that, I actually advise you, for example, to watch some videos from Jobby the Hub, where he's reviewing a Shredder figure, but it's not called Shredder, but it's actually a third party figure, not based on any figure that there is, and the figure is really high quality and actually very expensive. On the other hand, the bootleg, because it's just mimicking the original with cheaper materials, the price will always be cheaper, and sometimes it can be like 1/4 of the original, and again can be very tempting to buy. big problem is that quality control, of course, will not be up to par with the quality control of the original. You can get a really good figure by a cheap price, but you can also get a figure that comes with paint effects or other kinds of problems, and you can check my channel for some of those cases. So I hope that makes you understand the difference between both types of figures. Now you're probably thinking, well, but doesn't this hurt the company that actually makes the figure? For most part, not really. Because for the most cases they sell out the figures before the figure even comes out. They release the pre-order, you're getting closer to the date 2 months, sometimes 3 months before the figure comes out, you cannot buy it anymore. Now, that's weird because I see the figure be selling and it's being sold by a lot of different stores. There's not many of them, but they're being sold. Now this is why I actually am not completely against bootlegs and third parties, because when a figure comes out, what happens is it gets shipped to certain stores that are selling it and with the pre-orders, and sometimes some stores buy a lot of quantity and instead of just selling the figure normally, they keep some units to resell after some time at a higher price. Because unlike most things in life where with time they become cheaper, like cars, houses, CDs, video games, figures very quickly become valuable and become collector items, allowing sellers to very quickly raise the price, especially when they sell out immediately when they are released. Because of this, some people that collect but are not like hardcore collectors didn't get the opportunity to pre-order at that time, and suddenly they find themselves in a situation where they want the figure but they cannot afford it because it's being sold at 2-3 times the original price. And that's where bootlegs in action figures are a good thing, because they can give those people the opportunity to get a figure that is not as good as the original without selling their kidneys. And again, the company that makes the figure themselves already sold all the figures, so they are not losing any money at all. Who is losing money with this? The stores that didn't sell all the figures at the original price and pushed the price up after the figure became rare, because now the units they are selling overpriced have a lower chance of being actually sold. And I'm not pitying them that much. Sell them at the original price. But remember that I told you that not all the cases are the same. For example, model kits of Gundam. Gunpla, it's a different beast altogether. Why? Because Bandai doesn't stop releasing the kits. They make the kits and they keep releasing more units, so you never actually have a shortage, and you actually almost never have that thing where the kit becomes overpriced. But you have some third parties that do the kits, so for the most part, yeah, in those cases the difference in the price is not that high, and I would advise going for the Bandai ones because they are higher quality, the difference of price is not that much, and supporting Bandai helps to bring new kits along, and in that case Bandai can actually lose some money because of the competition of the third parties. But I wouldn't discount the third parties completely out, because they actually do some kits that Bandai does not do, and this is the result of, for example, one of the latest kits I got is the version metal build of the Strike Freedom Gundam from the Ban. You don't have this kit from Bandai. What you have is a figure called Metal Build that costs a lot of money, and it's not a model kit, it's a figure. But the Ban actually took the figure and turned it into a model kit that is sold by the price of a normal master grade, even below what the normal master grade goes for. So if you like that design, you either have a choice of paying like 400 euros for a figure that is beautiful, it's an amazing figure, or you can buy the model kit, have the fun of building it, and at least you have a model kit with that design. Now that I'm not against. Final thoughts. The action figure model kit market, it's a market that is very much always filled with bootlegs. And you need to know when you are buying a bootleg and when you are buying the original. Not to pay the price of an original and get a bootleg. In my country, for example, in cons, in conventions, there are a lot of stores that sell bootlegs, and if you don't know what this is, you're buying a bootleg almost at the price of the original, if not at the price of the original. Sometimes buying online is actually easier to tell because of protection from sites like eBay or AliExpress. But thankfully I have a bunch of stores that I trust, that in those stores I'm buying an original product. And again, when you're buying a bootleg, you need to be aware of the risks that you're taking in terms of quality. You must be aware that sometimes you're like making a gamble. It can be an amazing figure or it can have its problems. So I hope this video helped clarify these issues. Sorry I was late on the Wednesday schedule, but unfortunately yesterday I broke my phone, I cut my finger. Oh, it was a mess. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see great figure and model kit reviews, hit that subscribe button. Hope to see you guys next time.